So, what we were doing today in the Custer Federal Bank was a little due diligence, a little research. Now, they tried to be extremely dismissive. Of course, their lawyer wasn't dismissive. He was very poised and thoughtful and reserved, which is fine. But here is the true question, okay? Here is the true circumstance that lies within this. The reason we want the original promissory note is because the holder in due course can come after anybody that holds the original note at any point in time and claim or lay claim to the fact that they are due an owing because they hold, in fact, the original promissory note. Okay? That's the importance and the relevance of the promissory note. He who holds it is master. He who created it and the holder in due course is the one doing owing. Okay? So if the bank purports that they do not have the original promissory note, then they guised a loan and led the people to believe that they were due an owing because they lent alleged money, credit on account, if you will. But here's the problem with that. When you satisfy your loan, ladies and gentlemen, and you sign the security agreement, and you're in this banking realm, if they cannot give you the promissory note once the commitment has been fulfilled and they don't have it, to my knowledge, you could take these people back to court for fraud. Because if they never had the original promissory note and they don't have it today to give it back to you upon completion of your promise to pay, embarking in a constructive trust, whereas you have an obligation as an obligor to fulfill a said contract, and at the end of that contract they don't give you your cheeseburger, okay, then when you take them to court and they don't have it, shouldn't they rightfully give you everything you ever gave to them in the first place? Because they weren't the holder in due course. You didn't owe them anything. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Well, they create the security agreements, this, that, and the other, and that's what binds you and obligates you. Sure. But at the end of the day, it's not the automobile that has value. It's the promissory note, gentlemen. Ladies, pay attention to this. We just were in a building with a bag of thieves, and every last one of them wanted to be dismissive, smirk. The CEO obviously was extremely nervous when I started speaking. He walked in calm, cool, and collected. Once I got to speaking about the SINFIN and the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, and the financial departments that investigate fraud, he got extremely defensive. I'm going to tell you this right now. The only people in the world that get defensive, ladies and gentlemen, are those who willfully, with intent, commit fraud, or defraud people, or know openly that they're doing something that isn't morally correct. So think about that a little bit. Go watch the videos down below if you haven't yet, before Facebook removes them, because you know those videos won't stay up long. Back them up offline and listen to them. Listen to the words these people speak and how they try and cover the fraud that they are actively engaged in, knowingly, willfully, with intent of their own free volition. Notice they didn't call the sheriff. They didn't call the police officers to have us escorted out of the building. They went and got their attorney and brought their attorney in from across the street or wherever he was outside of the building or the premises. Now, I hope that they will find these promissory notes. The other thing about the promissory note is this promissory note had a value, a credit on account of allegedly $7,000 or thereabouts. And we know that if we're going to send something of value through the mail, we send it registered mail. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because we're going to ensure that for the true value in said documents, ladies and gentlemen. We don't just send legal documents and promissory notes willy-nilly without insuring those parcels, okay? It's absolutely asinine for them to have stated that, well, we sent it via the mail, and if you didn't receive it, it's not our problem. No. You have an obligation and a duty to ensure that the creditor, the issuer of the credit, once they have fulfilled their loan obligation, absolutely has their tangible property in their hands, you have that obligation. You know, if you buy something from me on Amazon, I have a duty and an obligation to send it forthright in a capacity for which you will receive it. And if I'm intelligent about that, I make sure to send it registered mail, and I insure that parcel for what its value is, in case for some reason the United States Post Office should lose that parcel or that thing of value, right? So it's very, very interesting. Think about these things. It's just logic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not the most brilliant man in the world. I'm not any more intelligent than the rest of you. It's all about becoming learned. And so with that said, I really have to get to work. I've got a limited time with the equipment that I have on site, and I need to fulfill an obligation that I have created, a private contract, if you will. So with that said, think about the things that you witnessed today. Download those videos offline. Continue to share them and spread them with your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the American people to stand up with a backbone and a pair. All right? You got to have a spine. You got to have a pair. And you got to stand up for what's right. It's black and white. It's equity, ladies and gentlemen. It's either right or it's wrong. So with that said, have a great day. And don't think for a second that I'm done with this, because I now have interest in this. Because of what was said there. Now, Nebraska's a one-party state, and what I mean by one-party state is all that needs to be aware that a recording is being made is one party needs to know. I had knowledge. Robin had knowledge that a recording was being made, and as you hear in the video, as it transpires along, the CEO and vice president of the bank also had knowledge that there was a recording being made. So you can hear them say, we have the original note, then they give us copies. Why won't you give us the originals? I mean, if you have the originals, they lied so many times in that video, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go back, I'll recap it, and I'll count it. But download them offline. Listen to them. Listen to the lies, the putrid spewing and vomiting of the mouth of these bankers and what they said compared to their actions. Remember, actions always speak louder than words, ladies and gentlemen. And all this young lady wants is her cheeseburger. Okay, she paid for it. She's got a letter stating that satisfaction has been obtained. Now give her cheeseburger, baby. Or maybe you should just give her the whole Happy Meal. The Happy Meal being the interest that has occurred and incurred from the trading of the securities generated by the promissory note and the fractional reserve lending, giving them the ability to create 10 times the value from the original issuer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have to say this morning. Get back to us later on in the week when we do a follow-up.